Hey everyone, welcome back to Chasing Sparks with Tasha, the podcast where we stop obsessing over what should be, start embracing what is, and remind ourselves that half the people who seem like they have it all together are probably just really good at using Instagram filters. Let's talk about something that sucks the absolute joy out of life: comparing yourself to other people. One minute, you're feeling great about your progress. You finally cleaned out your inbox, maybe even meal prepped for the week, or at least thought about it, which totally counts. And then, bam, you make the mistake of opening social media. Suddenly, your achievements feel microscopic compared to Justine, who just bought a house, got a promotion, and ran a marathon, all before breakfast. Meanwhile, you're over here trying to figure out why you still can't keep a succulent alive. Aren't they supposed to thrive on neglect? Before you know it, you're spiraling, convinced you're behind in life, wondering if you'll ever have it together, and somehow stress eating an entire sleeve of Oreos in the process. If that sounds familiar, today's episode is for you. We're talking about why we compare ourselves to others and how it messes with our confidence, how to shift the focus back to our own journey, and most importantly, how to find sparks when comparison is making you feel like you're coming up short. Let's be real, comparison is sneaky. It starts out harmless, just checking in on what other people are up to. Next thing you know, you're knee-deep in someone's vacation photos from 2018, questioning all of your life choices. So why do we do this to ourselves? Well, blame evolution. Back in the day, comparing ourselves to others was actually a survival skill. If Marcus over there knew how to make a fire and you didn't, you needed to step up your game or risk becoming dinner for something bigger than you. But now, in a world where we have instant access to literally millions of people's lives, our brains don't quite know what to do with that information. Instead of focusing on our progress, we get stuck measuring it against someone else's. And let's be honest, we're terrible at making fair comparisons. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. We measure our progress against someone who's been at it way longer than we have. Shout out to the people who started their careers at 22 and somehow have it all figured out. Meanwhile, I started mine with a side of anxiety and at least 5 backup plans. And worst of all, we assume that because someone else is succeeding, we must be failing, which is absolutely not how life works. And if you're in a leadership role, this gets even worse. It's so easy to look at another leader, another organization, or another team and think, wow, they have it all figured out. Meanwhile, you're over here holding things together with caffeine, Post-it notes, and sheer determination, hoping no one notices you're still figuring it out. Guess what? They're figuring it out too. Some people are just better at pretending they're not. When I catch myself slipping into the comparison trap, I know I need to refocus on my own journey. But sometimes that's easier said than done. So here's what helps me find my own sparks again when comparison is sucking the joy out of my progress. First, zoom out and look at the big picture. If you're feeling behind, take a second and look back at where you started. If past you could see where you are now, they'd probably be pretty impressed. Even if you're not where you thought you'd be, you've grown, learned, and built things along the way that are worth celebrating. Next, stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. Just because someone is thriving at 30 doesn't mean you're behind. Some people hit their stride at 22, some at 55, and some of us are just trying to remember to take our vitamins. Your path isn't supposed to look like anyone else's, so stop measuring your progress against someone else's stopwatch. Another thing that helps, do something that's just for you. When comparison starts messing with your head, shift the focus back to your creativity. Write something, rearrange your space, test out a new recipe. Your spark doesn't have to be groundbreaking, it just has to remind you that you're still moving forward. And sometimes you just need to look for inspiration in the real world. If you're feeling stuck, get away from the scroll. Take a walk, dive into a book, grab a coffee with a friend. Some of my best ideas have come not from obsessing over what everyone else is doing, but from simply being present in a new space. Sparks have a funny way of showing up when you least expect them, but only if you're paying attention. Finally, celebrate someone else's success without making it a negative reflection on yourself. If someone else is succeeding, cheer for them without letting it make you feel like you're failing. Their win doesn't mean you're losing. It just means they found a spark that worked for them, and yours might look totally different. Comparisons steal your joy. It tells you that what you're doing isn't enough, when in reality, you're doing just fine. Next time you catch yourself thinking, why am I not where they are? Flip the script. Ask yourself, am I moving in the right direction for me? And then go chase your sparks, not theirs. You don't need their path, you need yours. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or just exhausted from trying to measure up, you are not alone in this. Your worth isn't defined by achievements, status, or how you compare to others. You matter exactly as you are. All right, that's it for today's episode. If this message hit home for you, do me a favor, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this podcast with someone who might need it. Keep chasing those sparks. They're out there. See you next time.